Hey guys, you're watching VTech. I am Basil and this is the new Huawei Mate 10 Pro. It's live review time. Oh yeah, you guessed it. This is pretty much you asking questions, me answering them to the best of my ability, but mainly me just talking about this beauty. I'm going to wait for a few people to jump in the room as this wasn't a predetermined feed. This just went straight live. And while I do, I'm going to run through some of the key specs on the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. That 6-inch display really does take center stage. It looks beautiful. What's more, Huawei's also loaded it up with some banging wallpapers. Jump through. Oh, hey British Unknown, got some people in the chat. I'll shout out you guys in a sec. Let's just quickly talk through some of this stuff. 6-inch OLED display, HDR10 capabilities, some really nice wallpapers loaded up to showcase it to the max. Down at the base you got the loudspeaker. There are two loudspeakers, one at the base, one in the in-core earpiece section. You've got a USB-C as well. No headphone jack, but you do have an infrared blaster. This thing is IP67 water and dust resistant. Left hand side you've got the SIM card slot. This is a SIM card, not an SD card slot, while to the right hand side are buttons. Very easy to press, easy to navigate, power and volume buttons. Also, heads up guys, this is being recorded on a regular Huawei Mate 10, which has exactly the same cameras. So you should be really able to gauge how the microphones and the video capabilities stack up across a live feed. So yeah, back to the back of this phone. Two cameras, one 20 megapixel RGB, one 12 megapixel, one 20 megapixel monochrome, 12 megapixel RGB. The RGB one has image stabilization, and you've also got f1.6 apertures across both. Goes without saying, this is probably one of the most beautiful looking phones around right now. And protect it in the case, in the box. You're going to get a screen protector loaded on board. This is on board the regular Mate 10 and the Mate 10 Pro, and you're also going to get a case, soft rubber case or silicone case that fits very snugly. So hopefully you can hear me clearly, guys. It's time to give some of you a shout out. You can see as I put this down, I'm just going to swipe on the screen, so excuse any handshake. Hey the Chill One, hey Matic 101, British Unknown, Igor Kumanowski, the Chill One just keeps talking. Hey the Chill One, wave. Imran Khan, the blacks are blacker, the whites are whiter, blah blah. Well, I wouldn't say the whites are whiter. OLEDs don't tend to necessarily have the purest whites, but this screen is beautiful. British Unknown asks, do you think the screen beats the Samsung Note 8? The answer is a plain and simple no, but it definitely beats the LG V30 and the Google Pixel 2 XL. Versus LG V30, says Emui. Hey Emui, your profile picture looks dark and mysterious. You can check out the channel for our LG V30 comparison. But in a nutshell, they have very different offerings. If you need an SD card, the LG V30. If you need a headphone jack, the LG V30. If you need pretty much anything else, this has you covered. This is a very exceptional device. I'll come on to why in a sec. Practical Life, is the software clean or wonky? I'll come on to that. Scrolling through, waiting on you, Basil. Hey, Sean Oliver. Notice the microphones are pretty poor, says the British Unknown. Hopefully that is not poor, and everyone can see me now, because some of you guys are saying that you're waiting on the stream to start. Can you put it beside a Mate 9? That was from Khalid Abu Dari. Two shakes, Khalid. Let me grab the Mate 9. In fact, I have a treat for you guys. Not only is this a Mate 9, this is a Mate 9 running Android 8. Oh yeah, I got on the beta list for Android 8. So let me just power this bad boy up. And while it's powering up, we can see Mate 10 Pro alongside the Mate 9. The Mate 9 is a fair bit bigger. It's actually a fairer comparison to compare the Mate 9 with what's being recorded on the Mate 10. But for now, this video is all about the Mate 10 Pro. And that's why we've got this thing here. This is a Moshi dock. It's basically a fancy pants HDMI to USB Type-C. You guessed it. We're going to give you a comparison, demo of the Emui Desktop feature that Huawei's introduced in this. We're going to get really comprehensive here. So keep watching, guys, because it's all to come. But let's start with talk about the design of this thing. Glass front, glass back. What's really beautiful about the glass back of this thing is that it's actually like curved on both axes. It's very, very slight, but you've got a slight curve this way, a slight curve this way. In the hand, it feels super good. What's also cool is that the glass melds into the metal around the sides really, really well, elegantly. And of course, you've got that beautiful glass front. The user interface has a slight vignette applied to it to just make everything seem even more seamless and rich. And while the UI's main kind of look and feel feels a bit dulled down, I'll come on to HDR video in a bit and I will play some for you because HDR video looks sensational on here. On the front, you've got a front camera. It's 8 megapixels and it does a really good job. Well, it seems to have toned down the beautification slightly, or at least maybe I just like it a little bit more now that I'm getting older and older since I first experienced it and was shocked. As for the rear cameras, you've got a whole ton of shooting modes. If you're on top of our Instagram on BTech, then you will have seen that we posted a light trail that I took on this thing yesterday. If you're not already following us on Instagram, do. You'll get previews and Facebook. What I'm going to start doing, I'm actually going to start just making a Facebook album for every new phone I review and chuck all my pictures into that Facebook album. So follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram if you're not already. Kind of neglected that in the past, but over the last few weeks you'll have seen that's changed. So definitely head there. But now that you're here on YouTube, let's take some of your questions. Right, I'm scrolling up. So Reshan says that the Mate 9 is ugly compared to the Mate 10 Pro. I'd agree to a degree. The Mate 9 is a beautiful device. It's like pretty much as good as I've seen an all-metal device be. It still has that beautiful all-encompassing display. Let me just punch in my pin. It's a beautiful phone, a beautiful phone, and in this mocha color which it introduced to the Huawei line, it just does a great job. But it's true, the Mate 10 Pro is a huge improvement. The glass looks and feels richer. Also with that 18:9 aspect ratio, it sits incredibly comfortably in the hand. It's a physically smaller kind of device than its predecessor, in fact than any Mate was other than the Mate 9 Pro, and so it becomes instantly that bit more universally appealing. What's also cool is that it's a full HD but a wide full HD screen. So many people are like, full HD, it's 6 inches, that's going to have terrible PPI. I'll come in nice and close and you'll see it isn't terrible PPI at all. In fact, it's 402 pixels per inch. That's the same pixel density as the iPhone 8, for example, 8 Plus, even better than the iPhone 8. So yeah, I'm not complaining one bit. I play a 4K video HDR a little bit later. Let's see some of your questions. If I miss any of your questions, guys, by the way, it is just because I have accidentally missed them, so keep pounding them through there. Mate 10 Pro is kind of hot. Yes, it is. Thank you, Raj Patel. Which one is better, the camera, the Moto G5S Plus? Raj Patel, this is about the Mate 10 Pro. I'd love to talk about other stuff, and we'll do that in a general Q&A. Does it have an oleophobic coating that was missing on the P10? Huawei has said that it does. I haven't actually peeled off the pre-installed screen protector on here. As you can see, I'm letting the light catch it at just the right point. The pre-installed screen protectors on Huawei devices are really handy features. British Unknown 44 watching right now. Dude, this must have been a while ago because we're at 73. Thanks everyone who's here, by the way. How is the headphone audio compared to the XZ1? The headphones audio is a mixed bag. So this isn't going to ship with a dongle, at least not in the UK from what I understand. Dongle being a USB-C to 3.5mm dongle. And as a result, you'll get variable kind of quality depending on the dongle that you use. One thing that I have noticed is really good on this is that it has an LDAC, it has LDAC technology, which is really decent Bluetooth audio capabilities. And the Bluetooth audio sounds great, Riaj Mahmood, who asked about how the audio is compared to the Head 1, but I haven't specifically tested the headphone audio. Pixel 2 XL screen issues, too bad. Yes, they are too bad, and you don't have them on here. The screen on this thing is pretty beautiful. Wasim, hey dude, what do you think about the software? I will come on to that. How fast is a fingerprint scanner compared to other devices? Nice and fast, as you saw. What is the price? €799, so it'll be around 730 30 odd pounds, but it really does depend on your region. They're going to set the price. Igor says congratulations on 100,000 subs. Thanks, dude. And let's see what else. Dude, so many comments on this thing. Right, I'm going to put a pause on your comments because I need to talk about this a little bit more. And so yeah, the design gets a massive thumbs up. The only thing that's going to really bug you about the design is the lack of headphone jack, if I'm honest. Everything else is just so premium. It looks better than the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL, despite costing the same as a Pixel 2 XL. It also gives you double the storage, 128 gigabytes, which is excellent stuff, and a better screen loaded up with HDR10 capabilities. In fact, it costs less than the Pixel 2, €799 versus €799 UK sterling for the Pixel 2 XL. As a result, I would probably, for the most people, recommend this one. I'll come onto the camera in a bit, and the camera really is one of those things that makes or breaks a device. As you saw, like I said earlier, in my Instagram, on BTech's Instagram, I posted this light trail. You can take some stunning shots on this thing, but it is a phone that you will want to be playing around with to really get the most out of. While the Pixel is a phone you can point, shoot, take an incredible picture 9 times out of 10. This is one for enthusiast photographers. So the whole screen and user interface combination come together really nicely. I'm going to dwell on the screen for a little bit because, I mean, compared to the Pixel 2 XL, this suffers from none of the OLED issues. Viewing angles are great. I'm going to whack up the brightness a little bit. For you can see it's blowing out the screen of the camera, but viewing angles are excellent from all sides. There's no real color distortion by contrast to the Pixel. Alongside, the Pixel screen is really bad comparatively. That's the Pixel 2 XL, and the HDR10 technology on board is also excellent. So I'm going to open MX Player. I'm going to open up this HDR10 video, and guys, just enjoy this. I wish you were here. I wish you were watching this on YouTube in HDR10 because this looks so good. I will say, this is a 4K video sample. Alongside the Sony Xperia XZ Premium, it's not quite as good HDR10 and 4K content. This is a full HD screen, but it isn't far behind at all. And the fact you've got that 18:9 aspect ratio means it is all screen. It's just so good. So instantly, I can see why Huawei brought this to market. And if I was Apple right now, I wouldn't necessarily be shaking in my boots, but I'd be hyper aware that a manufacturer is bringing an HDR 18:9 screen to market at a fraction of the cost of my iPhone 10. And they're doing it in a very beautiful package. So yeah, the screen gets a huge thumbs up. People complaining about the 1080p resolution, chill out. You needn't complain, especially if you're going to be using this for movies and something like that. It looks perfectly sharp. 400 pixels per inch is more than enough. And what's more important, unlike with the Pixel 2 and the XL, the quality is there. So I'm going to start that from the beginning, and I'm going to read some of your comments while you guys enjoy that. I wish it was 1440p. That was from Jake Oppenheim. Yeah, I'm honestly, like I said, not too bugged about the resolution. Compared to the Galaxy Note 8, which one's better? I'd say the screen of the Galaxy Note 8 is better. In fact, the Galaxy Note 8 is a more premium phone. You've got that curved screen. You've got the dual camera, which performs a little bit better in low light, which again, I'll come on to later. You've got a more refined software experience because Emotion UI, as much as I like it, isn't going to be for everyone. But the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is a much more expensive device and also offers half the storage. It doesn't offer some of what the Mate 10 Pro does. And it's also, perhaps most importantly, a bigger, heftier, more cumbersome device. So at around £100 less, and you're also getting a device that might not fit in your pocket. this is a very, very attractive alternative. Riaz Mahmood says, thanks, mate. Thank you. I am quite a bit behind you guys right now, so apologies, but I am trying to get through all of your comments. Raj Patel says, my budget is 15,000 rupees. Dude, I really do apologize, but I am not au fait with Indian terminology in terms of currency and what a phone can get for that. But if anyone else reads Raj's comment and can help him, please feel free to fire comments in the comment section below. Have you tried Pixel Launcher on it? No, I haven't, and that was from Aaron Harstein. But what is cool is the fact that if you jump into the settings, you can change the display theme. In the battery settings, you can actually give it a really nice dark theme. So in battery, darken interface colors, and so when you do install a third-party launcher, if it's a dark third-party launcher, you can darken your settings to make it all look and feel a little bit more cohesive. Because one of my gripes with Emotion UI before was that the thing that was real telltale sign that it wasn't, like, you know, a thing that I wanted it to be, or a device I wanted it to be, was that very stark white settings menu. And jumping home, you can see it did take a second for those icons to repopulate, but now that it has, winning at life. Reshan Reza, man, you're a great reviewer. You deserve million subscribers. Reshan, you're my kind of guy. Pricing in India from Vikrant. I can't remember that off the top of my head. I don't even think it's been confirmed. But if you jump into Google currency conversion, you can do a... In fact, Alexa, what's 799 euros in rupees? Is that going to do it? No, it's not.
60,992 rupees and 86 paise.
There you go, 62,900 and something. Thanks, Alexa. So that's a price in rupees for you. So if you were watching this in India, it is a premium device, but at the same time, it is a premium device in capabilities as well. Too bad it doesn't have wireless charging. Jake, you've hit the nail on the head. They should have done that. They should have done wireless charging. I mean, their reason was that supercharge is so quick that why do wireless charging? And my reason to do it is because it's just an alternative measure of convenience. That has now been normalized by Apple and is being adopted in a lot of departments, in a lot of stores and restaurants and stuff. I will say though, supercharge is freaking quick. Half an hour, 50% battery, more than 50% battery, and as I'll come on to later, 50% battery will be a full day. Daniel John says wireless charging is overrated. I agree in that it isn't particularly fast, but it is very, very practical. I mean, I'm totally one of those people who like to just be at the office and plop my phone down and then know that it's fully charged. But do you know what? I didn't really have that issue with this phone because the 4,000 milliamp battery is just so good. But I'll come on to that a little bit later. Right, your comments are never ending. And so I'm going to walk you through the user interface before I read any more. So again, sorry guys if I haven't got through to all of them. User interface. At the heart of it, it is Android 8 with Emotion UI 8. Android 8 offers some cool stuff like picture-in-picture viewing. You've also got some really neat like notification center features. For example, a music app like Spotify can have full bleed album artwork. You can do loads of cool stuff with Android 8. And more importantly, perhaps, are the security updates. It'll have the latest Android security updates on board. Huawei loads it up with Emotion UI 8. It isn't Emotion UI 6, which you'd expect it to be. They wanted to bump it up to. Now, their reason was twofold. First reason was that they felt it was such a massive improvement over the old ones that they wanted it to be Emotion UI 8. Now, that's fine, believable or not. The more believable one is that they just wanted it to be constantly aligned with the Android version, which is why my Android 8 on the Huawei Mate 9 here is probably going to say Emotion UI 8 as well. Yeah, it is Emotion UI 8. So, but what's interesting is that Emotion UI 8 on the Mate 9 is identical to Emotion UI 5, whereas you've got a few new features on here, specifically Emui Desktop, which, I haven't actually tried this. You're getting like the experience fresh. Is it? No. Emui, that's desktop, doesn't work from a Mate 9 updated to EMUI 8. It's 8. whereas EMUI Desktop will work on this, but I'll come on to that later. And so for anyone who doesn't know, EMUI Desktop is like Huawei Samsung DeX experience. Samsung DeX, you plop your phone down and then it projects a desktop type UI onto a full HD TV. Whereas this time around, what you're getting is no dock necessary. You just need an HDMI cable. And this Moshi dock that I do have has the added advantage of supplying power to the device. So if you do want to purchase a dock like this, it'll give you additional USB ports so that you can do stuff like hook up a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth mouse, and it'll power up your device as well. At the heart of it though, you've got a very familiar Android experience. You've got a Google screen to the left hand side, you've got multiple and variable numbers of home screens. You can pinch out to get an overview of your home screen, and you can pull down for your notifications bar from the top. This is all nice and customizable by clicking on the pen, and there are also a whole host of customization options in your settings. For example, if I tap on display, there's eye comfort mode. You've already seen me swap out the theme on here, and you can also see you can bring back your applications tray or just leave it out. Leave it out, guys. That's what I tend to do. You can also customize your screen resolution down to HD as opposed to full HD plus in order save a little bit of battery and control how vivid or not vivid the colors of the AMOLED display are. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Tap through on smart assistants, and you can also control the system navigation. You can have a floating dock. You can control what buttons are in the navigations menu. You can hide buttons. Like I said, there is a lot going on, and it can be confusing, and you have to ask yourself, are you like me? Are you the kind of person who just welcomes these additional features because they're not particularly confusing and they're just kind of fun? And for example, I just took advantage of the whole 18:9 screen by making my notifications or my navigation tools disappear. Or are you someone who's just going to find that overwhelming and unnecessary? If you're in the latter camp, then you might want to opt for something like a Samsung, even something like an iPhone, where the decisions are made for you. But Huawei gives you a huge amount of control over your phone. Jump into the home screen settings. You can also change the home screen grid layout, and you can also change transition themes, etc. So yeah, that's a fundamental user interface, and I really like it. There are also things that Huawei brought with, like the Huawei P9, for example, the like knuckle feature, which as you can see is hit and miss. So I draw around something and it can take a screen grab based on my knuckle. I can also draw a line in the middle of the display, and it will, if I have an application open, is it going to do it? Is it going to do it? No, you see, it's not. My knuckles are weird. It seems to work on other people's knuckles, and it will do a half screen split screen view, so you have a multitasking pane. Also, you can, I think, double tap with your knuckle maybe, and it will take a screenshot. In fact, I think I've just crashed the phone. Wow, that's the first time in my entire time using this phone that the phone has crashed. I think my knuckles were just too much for it to bear. This is early software, guys, so bear that in mind. And I mean, like, considering I've been using it for over a week, the fact this is the first crash is relatively good going. This is going to be out for general release in I think it's a couple of weeks in the UK, so watch this space. We've already had one software update since this device launched, and you can watch the boot up screen, so we're gonna call it a cup half full situation. So you do have like some superfluous stuff like that knuckle stuff, but generally speaking, I found that the whole user interface is actually really sweet. As far as plugging it in to get that desktop experience goes, as soon as I plug it in, you'll see some stuff happening on the display. Yes, allow access to device data, and then hopefully it will talk to that, pan up, and you can see Emui Desktop right there. Now this has I can use the phone as a mouse, and I can like double tap, for example, on videos, and I can double tap on downloads and that demo that I was showcasing earlier, and that's pretty cool. Immediately, the fact that I can play back something full screen via MHL is a pretty sweet deal. I can jump back out of that and in fact close videos. I'm navigating all this, by the way, using the screen of the phone as a trackpad. Now, this isn't perfect. There's a whole bunch of features on here that just won't work, specifically around third-party applications. And it's very clear that Huawei is introducing this whole thing as a beta rather than, or it feels like a beta rather than a final finished piece of software. But for basic things like word editing, using Huawei's notes and email applications, etc. And again, the keyboard appears on here, so this doesn't even need a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse combo. I mean, you just can't do that on other devices, and that in itself is pretty cool. The utility of it is handy, but for me personally, something like that is not going to sell the phone. It'll just supplement your experience. And I think that's pretty much Emotion UI in a nutshell. Emotion UI on top of Android isn't going to sell me this phone. What's going to sell me this phone is the design, is that screen, is the hardware really. But what Emotion UI is also going to do is it's kind of going to make me, I guess, fall in love with the phone a little bit more, because it's going to make me able to tweak it and customize it and make it my own that little bit more. So I'm going to go through your questions now. Say anything about the camera. That's from Nimanja, and that was sent a while ago, so apologies. I'm 10 minutes behind your comments, guys. I'll speed through these. I haven't said anything about the camera yet, though that is coming. Don't worry. Raj Patel, pretty stupid of Huawei to lower the resolution on the higher end phone. I don't think so. I've already spoken about that 1080p screen, and yeah, Quad HD, sure, it would have been nice because to have just known it was Quad HD, but actually it looks really, really sweet. Can you show us the new emojis in EMUI 8? Yeah, sure thing. So let me open a text message without you seeing all my numbers, and type a text message, and there are the new emojis in EMUI 8, as you can see right there. Very, very simple stuff. And jump home. How long the battery takes. So there's a 4,000 milliamp battery in here, Field Marshal. That is larger in terms of capacity than the rest of the competition. And so we'll come on to the battery life a little bit later, but suffice to say, it being larger bodes very, very well, and reality lives up. Mate 10 or HTC U11. Mate 10 is a different phone to the Mate 10 Pro. I would say if you want to go for a bigger phone, then it's the Mate 10. The Mate 10 has that large 6-inch or 5.9-inch Quad HD display, and it has a dual camera setup, so it's going to be a little bit more playful. But the HTC U11 as a simple point shoot camera with excellent Snapdragon 835 power under the hood is indeed excellent. But check out the rumors. There have been some HTC U11 Plus Pro, who knows, that are expected to launch in the next couple of weeks. So maybe hold off for now and see what HTC has down the line. Jake's asking if it has wireless charging. No wireless charging on here. Reminds me of Dex a little bit. Yes, it does. Someone's saying big heart for Sony Xperia XZ Premium. The floating dock seems a little bit dumb from Jake. Yep, the floating dock isn't the best. I used it and it feels really, really weird. And everyone's lolling at the fact it crashed. I'm just getting to the crash in the questions, guys, but I am catching up. Have some patience. And also just a massive thank you to everyone in the chat room. We're at 91 strong now. Huawei Mate 10 Pro. Any thoughts on whether to opt for 4 gig or RAM gig? That's from Ryan Barkley. Now, Ryan, I actually, in spite of the fact Huawei announced this with 6 gigs and 4 gig options and 64 gig and 128 gig options, I haven't seen the 64 gig variant get picked up in any other country. Everywhere I've seen it's the 128 gig variant being picked up. If anyone has confirmation that the 64 gig variant's being picked up, let me know. But as it stands, if you're getting this phone, from what I understand, at least in the UK, you're going to be getting the 128 gig one, which is so good. Please can you show us the new emojis? I just did that. Hopefully you enjoyed. What's your day-to-day phone? And that's from Daniel John. I don't have one because I'm reviewing too many phones at the moment, but I can honestly say if I had to pick one, this Samsung Galaxy Note 8 for two different reasons would be right up there. I would happily use either. Can you show us a call messaging app coming from Samsung? Let me see if I can, just because I don't want to be giving you my numbers. So like these app phones, I can't actually, just because it's going to have all my numbers in it. But these phones I do really use for a full week as my primary device in order to give you a real experience as to exactly how it stacks up. Adam Stoddart says, definitely want this when I'm due an upgrade. I have a Huawei P9 and things have advanced so much in the 8 months I've had it. Yep, this is just the epitome of like where Huawei is at the moment. I get both the Pro and the regular Mate 10 are very similar, but what will we be getting any review of the regular Mate 10? Yes, so that's from Fizzy Zailani. Awesome name, Fizzy. This is being recorded on a Huawei Mate 10 for any latecomers. So in fact, this in itself should give you a little bit of an insight as to how the Huawei Mate 10 performs. It has exactly the same camera setup. The screen is 5.9 inches, but in spite of being a smaller number, it's physically bigger because it's the 16:9 as opposed to an 18:9 aspect ratio. And the Huawei Mate 10 has an SD card slot, no waterproofing, and it has a 3.5mm headphone jack as well as better speakers. Yep, the Huawei Mate 10 has better speakers than the Mate 10 Pro because it is a physically bigger device and can pump out audio that bit better. Mate 10 Pro worth 100 extra euros over the Mate 10. I think that largely depends on your hand size and how much you need expandable storage. I would say get them both in your hand side by side. Macro shots, the details preserved. Yes, they are. I'll come on to some picture taking in a sec. And scrolling down, Ryan Barkley saying thank you for answering the question, and I'm going to stop there. So Irfan, when I come back to the questions, I'm going to come back to yours. But a lot of you guys really want to know about the camera on this thing, and I don't blame you. The camera is pretty sensational. Let me just give the lens a bit of a wipe to make sure that I am doing it justice. And you can see, for starters, you've got a bunch of options on the left hand side: flash, wide aperture mode on and off, portrait mode on and off, live picture on and off. You've also got some vivid modes or whatever it is, and you can access your camera options on the left by panning up and down. There are a whole host of camera options, but they're not all on that side. On this side of the screen, you've got even more. You can swipe in from the right in order to activate your manual controls, and you can swipe in to see resolution, GPS tags, add watermarks, assistive grids, mute timers, blah 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 blah. There is a lot of stuff to do here. It takes default 12 megapixel images, and Huawei's also got something called a AI zoom. Yep, that's the one. So what that enables is use of the second 20 megapixel camera in order to intelligently zoom on stuff in the most lossless way possible. So I just took that picture of the deck stock right there, and you can see that has taken a really decent amount of detail, and that was the intelligent zoom. In fact, it's even got a bit of the scuzzy fuzz in the background. So the zoom does work really well depending on the conditions, lighting conditions and stuff. It's even outperformed the iPhone 8 Plus's optical zoom. Not every time, but the mere fact it can stand up to it is a good thing. Now, it is very much a case of point, shoot, take a picture, and it will take a good picture. Dude, I need to turn off that self timer. So let's do that. But that isn't the extent of it. This is really a phone that lets you play until the cows come home. I can quickly take a look at that picture though, and you can see that is a very respectable picture. It isn't the best phone for point and shoots in the world. For point and shoots, I would say the Google Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL is incredible. And the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 maybe edges ahead a little bit as well, but it's very much in that upper echelon. It is very comparable with those two phones and indeed the iPhone 8 Plus. If I jump into manual controls, instantly here is where a few of the things on board start to change. First off, I can jump into manual focus, and then I can zoom all the way in, and then I can have effectively a I guess, close-up level, so I can get pin sharp zoom exactly how I want it, and then pow. But then I can actually also tap that, pow, and you can see the difference between the 10 times zoom and having exactly what I want in focus. So I'm effectively using the zoom on board as a manual focus, like I guess what's that thing called when you can see it fuzz around the area that's in focus, and that's really handy. Having the manual controls on board on the right hand side pop out so naturally is also great, because many times I'm having to just lock my white balance or whatever, and it is all at the flick of a finger. Also, having the native monochrome mode is also excellent. If I bring the deck stock a little bit closer, you can actually see whether you're native monochroming or not. You can actually get some beautiful depth of field without even having depth of field mode on. So again, zooming in on that, that's the black and white part, and then the laptop in the background just looks stunning. I mean, that looks great. Absolutely love it. But then you can dramatize that, and the monochrome will work across both the depth of field mode and across the regular shooting mode as well. Sorry, the depth of field will work across monochrome and across the full color images. So there's a whole host of area that you can play there as well. Also, when you do come to edit your pictures that you've taken in your wide aperture mode, you can change like the effect that you apply. So if I swap out the deck stock for something that's just a little bit more, I guess, colorful, what's around me, I'm gonna grab another Moshi dock. So this actually is quite handy to just pull in frame. This is another dock by Moshi that has HDMI support and gives you 2 additional USB keys and an SD card slot that can all be read by the Huawei Mate 10 Pro. So if I, for example, tap through on the Moshi dock and lock on and do my wide aperture mode and take that picture, excuse all the vibrations, guys, you can see also tap through on the wide aperture icon, and I can tap on filter. Now this lets me do stuff like have pencil sketching for the background, have a comic effect for the background. I can also monochrome the background, keeping the foreground sharp, and explode out the background. So if I'm going to keep that, you can see instantly that just adds a level of drama, and it's a bit of fun. Nice to have stuff. Now this isn't going to win you any photography awards, but it is going to be great for social media, and that like camera isn't just limited to these really kind of, I guess, kitsch social media things. You can also do excellent things like light trails. So I can open up the gallery and let me just pull the light trails that I took last night, and these are just a few of the pictures that I took in London last night, and these weren't even on a tripod. I was just hand balancing it against like, I think it was actually a rubbish bin, because I'm glamorous like that. But it just goes to show that with a Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro's versatility, you can take some absolutely stunning shots with the bare minimum equipment. So yeah, super happy. Not the best device in the world for just point and shoots, but not too far off it. But when you come to tinker with that camera, it is utterly excellent. And what's even better is that video looks great. The microphone performance was super fair, and ultimately this is easily, for me personally, as a massive photography enthusiast, one of the best devices on the market, if not the best. I know, right? That's pretty extreme, but it is all down to those shooting modes on board. Right, Irfan, I said I'd come on to your questions, so let me come on to it. Front versus rear fingerprint scanner, which do you prefer? I prefer the rear fingerprint scanner every time. You can control your notifications tray. You can double tap it to clear your notifications tray, and it just feels natural when you're holding it. You don't need to reach around. Your finger naturally falls on the rear fingerprint scanner. But I know my mum, for example, prefers a front fingerprint scanner, despite having used a Huawei Mate S for a very long time. Can you tell us what the screen on time that you get on the Mate 10 Pro is? Dude, I can't read your name. Apologies for that. It is in a different alphabet, but it is going to last for so incredibly long. In fact, this is the best performing flagship when it comes to battery that I have used in my life, and that's a massive statement. Sean Oliver also asks, what is the battery life? Can you say what it compares to? I would say that this thing can last you, like I said earlier, 2 days, potentially. So if you're using this in the morning through to the end of the day and you switch it off at about 10 p.m. before you go to bed, and then you wake up at about 6 a.m. And switch it on again, it'll probably see you through to the end of the second working day. Even if you're a relatively fair user, you don't even need to be a super light user. Just keep that screen brightness in check and you should be fine. And in fact, there are also a whole bunch of battery saving features on here too, so you'll very easily be able to last a full day, maybe two, if you switch them on. Such a good battery life, and really good for screen on full brightness multimedia time compared to the others. Richard Klaassen says, I love Huawei no matter what. I'm going crazy here in the Netherlands. What, I love Huawei. Okay, so I mean, you're fanboying, and that's actually totally cool, because it's really nice when a brand creates that much advocacy. And I think for the first time, this is a device that feels like it's giving users pretty much everything that they're going to want. Now, I'm not really bugged about the SD card slot not being here, because guys, 128 gigabytes of storage, that's loads. I'm also not too fussed about the headphone jack. I would have liked it, to be honest, but the fact it isn't here, I do use Bluetooth speakers more, Bluetooth headphones more often than not. So, like I said, little value adds, like the fact you do get the case in the box, like there is the onboard screen protector, just make me feel less guilty about spending a little bit of money on this thing, especially when actually the money I'm spending undercuts much of the competition. US availability for the Mate 10 Pro, that's from Igor. I haven't seen any just yet. Where will the Mate 10 Pro go on sale? The Mate 10 Pro has been confirmed on 3 here in the UK. Do you think expandable storage is still relevant? And that's from Ryan Barkley. Hey Ryan, I do think expandable storage is super relevant, but not necessarily in a device with 128 gigabytes. This capacity should see you through for life. And by life, I mean the duration of your smartphone contract, be it 1 or 2 years. Do you know why the UK is not taking the standard Mate 10? The Pro is too flawed with no headphone socket. That's from Stuart. I don't know. From what I've heard, there's potential that Australia is taking the Mate 10. And also watch this space. The Mate 10 be ranged later in the year. Just because it isn't being ranged now, it doesn't mean that it won't. But I don't know why it isn't being ranged. It'll be really interesting to see if you can pick it up offline, because the offline price for the Mate 10 is super competitive, considering you're getting the same camera, you're still getting an excellent screen and similar design, but you're also getting that headphone jack, better stereo speakers, and that Kirin 970 processor. And Zombie says the software still needs a lot of work. If you're talking to Emotion UI 8, it does. It's not final release yet. Even on the Mate 9, it's in a beta. And like I said, that was my first crash. It's been so stable. Of course, it would crash when I'm doing a live show. But having said that, I will monitor it. If it does do that again, I will be sure to comment below. Can we buy a regular Mate 10 in Europe? I don't think you can, or at least not to my knowledge. Watch this space. ZBN Charity, can you show me the dock station you used? Yeah, so in fact, this is a Moshi dock, MOSHI, and this is one option. The reason this is really nice is because it has Ethernet, it has HDMI, and it has power. So the USB-C plugs into the bottom of your Huawei and supplies power, thereby charging it while being a docking station as well. It also offers you 2 USBs, and one of those USBs will supply power to just charge any device that you're using. Alternatively, if you want something a little bit cheaper, this is the Moshi portable dock with an SD card slot so that you can read your digital camera's files. You can also have 2 USBs once again and HDMI out, and it is something that's going to be a little bit easier to fit in your bag. Doesn't need an external power supply, but it will not obviously charge your Mate 10 while you're using it. So it was a massive shout out to Moshi. Thank you for sending that. I'll do a separate video actually once I've done the whole, or use the Emotion UI desktop experience a little bit more. It's like comprehensively running through what it can and can't do. Thanks for showing macro shots, Venkata. No worries at all. Bluetooth 5 enabled or not, It has Bluetooth 5 to the best of my knowledge, but I haven't been able to have options pop up asking me if I want to split my audio across multiple Bluetooth devices. In fact, a few of the things that were announced at the launch event I've not been able to do. One of the things that was announced, if you get a notification, you're able to open in that application in split screen view. I wasn't actually able to activate that, so I'm guessing, like I said, this really isn't final software just yet. So the stability that it does pack is like just circumstantial because it isn't final software. But I'm reviewing it because people who watch Mr. Who's the Boss, he is an awesome YouTuber, but he mentioned that in his initial use it had terrible battery. I absolutely experienced that in the first like 20 hours of using it. Really bad battery, but then Huawei, within a day of launching the phone, launched an update that you could manually force onto the phone that completely fixed that. Jimmy, no Bluetooth 5. Thanks for correcting me. It's Bluetooth 4.2. Brian Jesus Figueroa Rodriguez, really appreciate that communication. You guys are helping me out massively. iPhone 10 camera could be the best. Looking forward to seeing how the iPhone 10 stacks out. Jake asks, why monochrome photography? Okay, a little bit of a lesson here. When you're shooting in monochrome, you actually have black and white pixels and subpixels. So you don't have an RGB. You have a black and a white one effectively. So you've got bigger physical subpixels because there are only two as opposed to three. Therefore, those let more light in. You can therefore expect better low light performance with monochrome photography. And of course, obviously, native monochrome photography has better dynamic range, and it just looks that bit more art house, dramatic, fantastical. I mean, I can very easily illustrate this Moshi dock. Of course it looks good. This is a really good camera, but as soon as I shoot it in monochrome, it's going to look just that bit more atmospheric and mysterious. And if I was to that's in wide aperture mode. If I was to tab through on that and drop the exposure, that's even more mysterious. It looks like it could be like a psycho film or something like that. And that's like what's so cool about monochrome photography. It can just be really nice and effective. And while of course you can shoot in color and then retrospectively make it monochrome, you won't benefit from that extra level of sharpness that you will with the native monochrome. And of course you're also not going, you're going to be processing an image, processing a JPEG, which is a lossy format a lot. And you don't want to be over processing lossy file formats. For anyone who does know what a lossy file format is, JPEGs, by contrast to RAW files, degrade every time you save a new copy. And breathe. Everybody talks about the damn camera. The biggest reason for me to buy one would be the battery life. Is it as good as promised? That's from Daniel D. Yes, it is. The battery life is spectacular. Color options in the UK. I don't know about the color options in the UK, but I know the color options in general. This is available in a titanium grey, blue variant. It's also available in a mocha color and one other rose gold-esque type or pink gold type color. What else? Why can't I move back in playback? That's from Fanatic. Sorry dude, if you check back when this gets finally saved live on YouTube, then you should be able to do that. Is it better than the Note 8? It's better value than the Note 8. I couldn't say for sure if it's a better phone than the Note 8 because it's going to depend on what you want. And that's from Yash Sharma. But let me know exactly what you value in a smartphone, and then I can help you out here and tell you if it is indeed better than the Note 8. I mean, it costs around £100 less if the exchange rate is anything to go by between euros and pounds. It looks like fingerprint management, a fingerprint magnet is in the back. Yeah, so this does love fingerprints, as you can see. There is an oleophobic coating. It isn't as bad as some devices out there. Lighter devices will hopefully fare a little bit better, but a quick wipe on my top has gotten rid of most of those, but it is still an absolute beauty. And plus, let me have a look for the case. There it is. If you do end up doing what I do and protecting this thing with a case, then fingerprints won't be an issue, and the case gives you an extra little bit of grip, and it is very snug and secure. I don't think the Mate 10 Pro is better than the Galaxy Note 8, but would choose the Mate 10 Pro anyway from Brian Jesus Figueroa Rodriguez. That's a name and a half. Actually, it's more like 4 names. But either way, I kind of agree with you because of the value proposition. It's a very, very good phone by comparison to the Note 8. Screen on time, I don't have a number for you regarding screen on time, but what I do have is very, very confident this wipes the floor with all the competition. Did a test today where I left it on for freaking ages and it smashed it. It really, really did. Like, I think an hour and a half of video playback, and it was over 90% battery. An hour and a half, and it was connected to Wi-Fi, and it was full brightness. That's just so good, guys. So good. Right, you guys have asked how is the speaker quality, and that is from Sean Orgiaco. Hey, Sean Orgiaco. The audio quality, if you mean the loudspeakers, is good but not mind-blowing. So it's better than mono speaker devices. There are stereo speakers, one at the base, one at the top. It's going to be shriller than some other devices, including the Mate 9, which was an excellent performer. I'd say in the current range of flagships, the best speaker is the Pixel 2 XL, and the iPhone falls behind it, followed by the Mate 10, followed by this bad boy. The reason being that this is just a little bit shriller, and it's not surprising because it has less bezels and needs to squeeze that little bit more volume out of that little bit less space. But the volume itself in terms of pure loudness is right up there near the top. What else are you saying? Have you come across other AI features? And that's from Irfan. So the AI thing inside the Kirin 970, this is the first network or neural processing unit smartphone. The presentation was just all about the deep voices and the AI. It was like a Marks and Spencer's advert. This isn't a smartphone. This is an intelligent machine. It was really corny, and it feels at this stage like the AI line is a marketing line. But that's probably because it's also too early for me to tell. A week into this, and I don't feel like this phone's getting to know me, but I do feel like it's an exceptional phone. I benchmarked the life out of this phone, and it scores really, really highly across Antutu, across Geekbench. I can show you the Geekbench score. And Geekbench actually is 6630 multi-core, and Antutu I uninstalled because it annoys me because it sucks so much battery in the background, but it was like 170,000 or something, so really, really, really high up there. As far as AI features go, I mean, aside from that symbol in the camera telling me that I'm taking pictures of certain things, I didn't notice anything at all. But I did, like I said, just experience that this phone was very, very solid, quick, snappy throughout my usage. Oh gosh, guys, we've been going for 51 minutes and there are 95 people in this room. Amazing. Just joined, so forgive me if you had answered this. This is from Mag Kyger Watson. Will it be, is it screen resolution a disappointment coming from the Honor 8? Compared to the Honor 8, this is absolutely not a disappointment. Despite having the same screen resolution, you have HDR, and you've got OLED technology. And just to hit that point home, I'm going to do something that I did a little bit earlier, and I'm going to play back an HDR video just for you, Mark. And this is a 4K HDR video as well. And you can see it just engulfs, it swallows the whole screen. This like candy color part is my favorite part, and while it plays back again, I'm going to read some more of your questions. All I want for Christmas is a Huawei. That's from Richard. Tesu, but Samsung has a good camera. Yeah, Samsung has a good camera, and in many ways, as far as point and shoot goes, the Note 8 camera is a little bit better, but the Samsung setup is just significantly more expensive. Nicholas, is audio quality better than the last generation? In terms of recording and audio playback, I haven't noticed it to be better, to be honest. I found the Mate 9 was probably one of the true champions of this world when it came to the microphones on board and the speaker quality, and this isn't better, especially the speakers. They fare a little bit worse, but is that a deal breaker? For me personally, it isn't. To be honest, because I value that, but I really value the overall aesthetic that bit more. And when you've got a device that's quite big and unwieldy and cumbersome like the regular Mate 9 versus a device, let me take the case off, that is as elegant and streamlined and a premium feeling as this, which is just all about that screen, I would pick this every time, even with slightly inferior speakers. Let's see, what don't you like and what features do you miss? It's just a headphone jack. That's the only thing that I miss on here. And I can deal with that. I've been reviewing headphone jack free phones for a fair while. Thank you, Beans, for confirming the Bluetooth variant. It's only 4.2. Guys, I'm still 10 minutes behind your questions and I've been non-stop answering them. Okay, I'm going to do this. So you're going to stick with me? Okay, let's go. Do you know when 3 will release the prices and availability? We're expecting this month or November. I reckon it'll be the next couple of weeks at the latest. Really hoping it's sooner than later because I'm sick of talking about this phone without a UK price to tell you guys. How handy is the Mate 10 Pro compared to the V30? I've said this before, the Mate 10 Pro is going to be the option if you want loads of internal storage, don't need an SD card slot, and don't need a 3.5mm headphone jack. It's also got the better screen of the bunch in spite of not packing for Quad HD resolution. Scroll down. Thanks for giving this review, really appreciate it. No problem at all. The guy who's name is written in what looks like Hebrew, if you can actually like type out your name as it in a Latin alphabet, I'll try and remember it, or I'll write it down so that I can refer to you by name as opposed to the random guy whose name's in Hebrew. Thanks, dude. Until then, you will be dude. Daniel D, thanks for the great review, really helped out my decision. I'll probably get this one, no worries at all. Ryan Barkley, does it support picture in picture? Yes, it does, but what you have to do for picture in picture, let me see if VLC player is installed, for example, and Sony Bravia OLED demo, resize. So you have to enable picture in picture. Sorry, just pulling it off screen for a second. In preferences, play videos in the background, and then I can open this, three dots, picture in picture, grant permission, permit drawing over other apps, and we have 3 dots, picture in picture, so I can go home and we have a 4K HDR video, but it's quite clearly not being played in HDR. In fact, it's 4K, kind of making the whole thing come to a bit of a stutter, but nonetheless, picture is supported on here, and that is thanks to the Android 8 under the hood. 4,000 milliamps, Rich and Clausen. Yes, it is 4,000 milliamps, and it is 4,000 wonderful milliamps that lasts forever. Beans is saying, I forgot your name. My name is Basil. What's yours aside from Beans? Because I'm guessing that's not your real one, but there is a very creepy werewolf in your profile picture. Matt Dioff. Oh, which one is more manageable, this or the LG V30? I would say the LG V30. It's lighter. That's the thing. The LG V30 has a 3,300 milliamp battery that makes it a lighter device. This also being quite a bit heavier and having high gloss size makes it a little bit slipperier, but part of me would still opt for this over the V30, because if UK pricing pits it as cheap as the Euro pricing, then it's going to be a better value for money proposition. Champagne Gold is the other color from Fizzy. Thank you, dude. Surprised you could understand a Huawei CEO during Huawei's launch event. Richard Yu, I've been listening to him do keynotes for years and years. You start to learn Richard Yu. It's a very novel language, but once you get to grips with it, it is super rewarding. Metdoff, does the Mate 10 Pro fit in your hands? Yes, it's beautiful. I am a gamer. Do you think that the battery will last for more than one day with games like World of Tanks? Yes, I do. I played Injustice for hours on here and it played back beautifully, and my battery went down to about 60. I don't think I have Injustice connected up on this specific one I'm using, but I do have Assassin's Creed, so I can let that load up while playing a little bit for you. Which Gorilla Glass version is the Mate 10 Pro? I believe it's Gorilla Glass 5. Fingerprint unlocking in 0.33 seconds. Thanks, Richard. Macro results, really good. I did a macro like shot earlier, and it's just good, guys. So you're gonna have to trust me on that one, or flick back once this video gets made live. Hello from France. Okay, am I almost there? Yes, I'm like only 5 minutes behind you guys now. It supports HDR10. Yes, it does, guys. I'm scrolling through your comments. I'm like a demon. The sound of the Mate 10 Pro is good. Yes, it is. Does it have good palm rejection? Yes, it does. I haven't found... Oh, dude, what happened? It's basically deleted my Oh, that's really annoying. It's deleted my Assassin's Creed file and now it's having to re-download the whole application. That's annoying. But never mind. But what it can do is give me a scope to showcase just how good macro performance is, because some of you guys were saying, is macro performance good? And pinch in, macro performance is excellent. So yeah, Ryan, it does have good palm rejection. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Richard. Really, really appreciate that. Kirin 970 has better graphics than the Snapdragon 835. It's not a case of having better graphics, but it has really nice fast frame rates. And 2.2 benchmarks are very, very similar across both. And that's where it is really at. Dave Cooper, does it support Daydream VR? Hey Dave, it doesn't support Daydream VR for a couple of reasons. Specifically, the Kirin 970 chipset isn't Daydream VR approved, and also it's a full HD screen, so I wouldn't really, like, that's the only time that this thing is gonna be hampered. Two shakes, I just need to unplug a speaker that is making a whole bunch of background reverb. There you go. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend using a full HD screen for any VR experiences, generally speaking. Can't wait for the official review. That's like 10 minutes long. That's from Sean Oliver. Yeah, sorry guys, this one went a little bit crazy. Coming up on an hour now. Let's scroll down. Thanks, Basil. So in your opinion, best phone 2017? In my opinion, best value flagship of 2017, probably on par with the OnePlus 5, because the OnePlus 5 offers maybe a little bit better value for money, but it doesn't look or feel anywhere near this premium. So they are the two to go for if you want the best value. If I had to choose one though, I would pick this one. It's the slenderness, it's the camera flexibility with that dual camera setup and all of those light trail things I was talking about. If you're coming late to the game and you missed the light trails that I captured yesterday, I mean, it's just such a joy to be on like a Mate 10 Pro or a Huawei device in general when it's nighttime and you find something to rest your camera on. So these photos are also available on Instagram. You can check out the BTEC's Instagram as well. And what you'll be doing if you do check out BTEC's Instagram and subscribe, you will be seeing not only photos of cool stuff, you'll also be seeing like us perform some of the tests. So this, for example, is a Google Pixel XL side on test. I really hate like the fact that the Google Pixel XL, which is such an incredible phone in so many respects, is suffering so much with that screen. There's loads of stuff in the news today about it having screen burn, but one thing that does do is open up things for a device like the Mate 10 Pro with its full HD display to illustrate that resolution isn't really always everything, and screen quality, which this thing has in spades, is pretty excellent. Do you think the software will be stable at release? I think so. I think so because the Huawei Mate 9 software was incredibly stable at launch. I used this phone for about 3 months solid as a primary device, and yeah, it was really good. And the fact that a week in, this has only had one crash, and that crash happened when I was trying to activate all of that crazy knuckle tech earlier, for the first time pretty much since I've got the device, proved that yeah, it's stable. It's sufficiently stable. But watch this space. The release version, if if it hasn't introduced the stuff that Huawei said was coming, like notification tray, having the ability to populate different icons in a different half of the screen, I really want to know how to do that. So anyone who doesn't remember, when Huawei announced the phone, you could swipe down, you could press a portion of the notification, and it would open that notification in half the screen. But I haven't been able to see that in my device. Tarek, how's the software? Excellent. Heard Microsoft Translator is very good. Let's try that one. Microsoft, and let's see, Translator. Let me just find some text for you guys. Translator. Okay. Right, here we go. 10 things to know about Daydream View. Continue Translator app. Take a picture. Activate. Allow. And take a picture. So it's taking the picture. And someone's just asked, Daydream View compatible? Not Daydream compatible, I'm afraid. Instantly, it's been able to detect the source language as English. It's optically character recognized everything. And this is where Huawei claims that AI is kicking in. And we want to convert it to, all right, let's see. Let's do it into Arabic. Let's give it a bit of a challenge. 97 megabytes. I'm confident we can download that. Give it a shake, and I'm going to read some of your questions while it downloads into Arabic. Can you use Microsoft Office on PC mode? You can, but unfortunately it isn't necessarily optimized just yet. Huawei's going to have to do a little bit of optimization under the hood. How is the front camera? The front camera is really, really good. The video stabilization is decent. You can actually see a front camera sample that's from Nemanja if you check out my announcing the winner of the Huawei P10 Mate 10 Pro, because that was done on the front camera. Right, so now that it's downloaded Arabic, I can tap through on that and English into Arabic, and it will, wow, that's really cool. I don't know if you guys can read that, but that's really, really cool. Yeah, so now let's try a different language, one that's maybe on here already. Let's do Samoan, Serbian, Tahitian. Wow, there are some really random preloaded languages on here. Let's do Samoan just because. And that's super, super cool. If that's as accurate, if that's totally accurate, then I am mightily impressed. And that's the Microsoft Translator function. Let's see what else you can do. Listen, access the microphone. Okay, so I'm going to do some recording. I'm going to talk a little bit of Arabic now. So I'm going to tell it, so Arabic into English. And then listen. ازيك يا أستاذ. Let's listen to that. ازيك يا أستاذ. Is that going to work? No. ازيك يا أنسة. Oh my god, that got it. That's really, really cool. عايزة تشربي شوية شاي. That's really, really neat. So it can read a language, and then, yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so I'm impressed. I know this stuff's on Google Translate, but normally when manufacturers like Huawei or Samsung get that kind of software and throw it on board their devices, it just ends up crapping out a lot of the time. But actually, it's pretty sweet on here. And yeah, I know it's Microsoft software, but Microsoft partnering up with Huawei to create something actually useful. And now that is something that I would use in day-to-day life. Let's see. You sound exactly like my English teacher at university. You have a very pleasant voice. Thank you, Met Dolph. What about scratches on the glass? The front hasn't really scratched at all, but that's because I've got the preloaded screen protector on here, and neither has the back. But that is because I always use the case. I'm a huge advocate of phones that come with cases, especially given the fact that these cost so much money. So super, super happy that Huawei has done so. Right, guys, 98 people in this room, an hour and 7 minutes. I'm super, super grateful that you're keeping this thing alive. I'm going to try and get through as many questions as I can. Right now, I am about 5 minutes behind your questions, so have a little bit of patience if you've thrown anything in here. How is the front camera? The front camera is great. Let's take a look at my really tired face right now, and you can see what I'm going to do is I've got beauty mode switched on. Yeah, let's make that a 10. In fact, let me give the lens a bit of a clean. You can see the beauty mode instantly softens my face, bulges out my eyes, and makes me look a lot less beat than I am right now. You can switch beauty mode off. It also blurs out the background nicely. If you want an example as to how the front camera video performs, like I said, you can watch my competition winner announcement. So someone earlier this week won a Huawei Mate 10 Pro. It was Mattia in Slovenia, so massive congratulations to Mattia. We're sending that out for him right now. Stay tuned to to the channel for a lot more, and also let us know what devices you want to be winning, and I'll do my best to speak with manufacturers to get them sent out. In short, though, the front camera isn't the highest resolution. It isn't going to provide the sharpest image, but video looks really good. Stabilization is really good, and sometimes with the front camera, you don't want the sharpest image. You just want a good quality one, and this is that. Let's see, can you do a battery comparison soon? I could, but it's going to wipe the floor with all the competition. I think the only battery comparison that's really worth doing with the Mate 10 Pro is the Mate 10 versus the Mate 10 Pro right about now, because they are both so far ahead of the pack. Great camera, made by Leica, so it must be good. Honestly, Richard, you're not wrong, but you're not right either, in the sense that this is so much better than the P9 camera, which introduced the Leica branding. So I'm really like, the OIS makes such a huge difference on this thing. Oh, hey Sam, watching this on my Mate 10 Pro, cracking phone. So Sam Pullen, if you haven't already checked out his channel, check out his channel. He fired a comment in here a little bit earlier. Mate 9 Pro is Daydream ready with Kirin 960, so I think the issue, I don't think the issue would be the chipset. That's from Fizzy. Hey Fizzy. And so it isn't necessarily that the chipset won't ever be certified Daydream ready, it's that it hasn't thus far. And I mean, you can just look at the Pixel 2 regular. That's a full HD device as well, and that's Daydream ready. So full HD isn't a deal breaker, even though admittedly it has got a higher pixel per inch ratio thingy level of clarity and sharpness. Miguel, 18:9 sucks, rear fingerprint sucks, display buttons suck. Okay, I don't agree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion. I hope you enjoy this video. Did you get this phone as a present from Huawei? I didn't get this phone as a present from Huawei. I got this phone to review from Huawei, and that is exactly why I'm here. So the launch event picked up one of these, and also picked up a regular Mate 10 to review, and picked up the competition prize that is on its way to Mattia and Slovenia now. What's call quality like? Call quality is pretty excellent. Can you change the settings theme from black to white or vice versa? Yes, you can. So if you jump into the settings, I showed this off a little bit earlier. Jump into the battery settings, jump into darken interface colors, and then it flips everything from black to white and vice versa. So black is my preferred color, and being an AMOLED device, there is that whole, like, whether it's true or false battery saving thing, and in addition to that, it just looks better. Alok Galapati, maybe tried notification with another app so it opens in split screen. I've tried that quite a few times, but I do think it just needs a software update before that feature installs on it. Is there a laptop that anyone recommends for editing videos as a YouTube beginner? That's Eddie Fitness. Eddie Fitness, I am unable to answer that one, but Sam actually might. Oh, Sam, the half-screen messaging only seems to work when using apps such as YouTube. You get a small notification that you tap on and boom, it loads. Amazing. I haven't actually got any YouTube notifications. I'm obviously not that popular. Despite the 103 people in this room, you guys are awesome. Regarding Daydream, they said the 970 is waiting Daydream certification, but it does technically work. Bam. Thank you, Sam. That rhymed. You're a legend. Really appreciate you supplementing this. And I've had a try Turkish, try Hebrew. Wow, the Huawei really is smart. Try Dutch, Egyptian Arabic. So that's from Naif Al-Jahani. Al-Jahani, yeah. Yeah, Egyptian Arabic is the Arabic that I am currently in the process of trying to learn. You have a couple of more questions. Is it hard to use one-handed? I'm 6'4", so I have huge hands. So I don't generally find that this phone is too hard to use one-handed, but it is very long. Like by comparison to the Mate 10, which is more similar to the Mate 9, it's a lot easier because it's that little bit more narrow. But if you have small hands, then you will be able to use it no problem. Let's keep scrolling down. Yeah, long review. This is a really long review. There was no intention of making this a full hour, but your questions are keeping on coming, and I really want to be able to answer as many as I can before wrapping up. Most of the questions at this stage are like questions that have already been asked before, such as, Is the design good? Yes, the design is freaking beautiful. Is the screen good? The screen is very, very good. In spite of the fact it's only full HD, it still doesn't have the performance issues of the Pixel 2, for example. The screen does look a little bit high contrast at times, but it's still incredibly pleasing with great viewing angles. Audio is good from the onboard speakers, a little bit shriller than some of the key competition. I don't mind the fact there is no headphone jack, though a lot of you might. That USB Type-C won't necessarily be packed with a dongle out of the box, so you may need to purchase one separately. And if you use a third-party USB-C headphone, the Huawei Mate 10 Pro does grump at you. It still works, but it says it might not work quite as well as using a Huawei One. The user interface is predominantly nice and stable, save for the one little irk I had earlier. As for the desktop experience of Emotion UI, also known as Emotion UI Desktop, that works relatively nicely. You can just see that transfer across there, and you can use your phone as a touchpad. You've got a little start menu on the left hand side. Third-party applications work in a hit and miss way, but you do have a really good ability to control the native applications. So basic things like email, notepad taking, etc. are all on board. And these features, in fact, the third-party applications didn't work very well on DeX, but now they do. For anyone who wants to see what that is like, I can double tap on the notepad, I can tap on new note, and anyone wants to know what I'm connecting this with, this is with a Moshi dock. So if I tap through on new note, I've got the keyboard on here, and what I could even do, taking it all a step further, is, two shakes guys, I've got a little USB nubbin. I'm going to put that into the dock, plug it in, and then it is literally plug and play with trackpad, and type. So you can actually have a relatively comprehensive desktop experience on here. So the user interface is a thumbs up, but Emotion UI is relatively busy, meaning that it won't be for everyone. Performance is off the chart. The Kirin 970 is great. 6 gig of RAM means multitasking is a breeze. Gaming is a joy, and the 128 gigabytes of storage is fantastic. Even though there is no expandability, that doesn't annoy me one little bit. And when it comes to the cameras, they're class leading. They aren't necessarily going to offer the best point and shoot experience on the block, but what they do is they offer the best tinkering experience on the block. And as a result, you can actually get some of the best pictures that you will ever get on any smartphone around. And that is, like I said, going to be illustrated in the next couple of weeks on our Instagram, BTech, and on our Facebook page. Paired with an excellent battery life, fantastic connectivity set, Cat 18 LTE for 1.25 gigabit download speeds, the Huawei Mate 10 Pro could easily be the best, or at least one of the best smartphones around right now. I'm going to do one final sweep through your comments. And Basil, I have got to get one of these. I was thinking about a Pixel 2 XL, but now I fancy a change. Dave Cooper, thank you for letting me know. Atheus, I'm a bit late to the live review, but image samples posted on various sites are destructively over-sharpened. Have they fixed that, and how bad is it? Yes and no, like over-sharpening does happen. It is nowhere near as bad as the noise reduction or the excessive noise reduction on board the LG G6, for example. And of course, you can shoot in RAW on here as well, which is really good if you really care about that. But I didn't find that over sharpening bugged me too much. What else? And adding to my camera question, how does the camera handle the monochrome sensor being covered up? That's a good question, so let's try that out. So to clarify, we've got the top sensor, which is the monochrome sensor, and we can take a picture of them with the monochrome sensor covered up, and a picture, let me just give that a wipe, with the monochrome sensor not covered up of the same thing. And we can see, in fairness, this is pretty freaking great light. So that was the monochrome sensor covered up, and that's the monochrome sensor not covered up. If I was gonna say, like for the naked eye, you can't really spot a huge amount of difference across either picture, but this is good light. The monochrome sensor is there really to help with the zoom, and they're to help with bad light. But to be fair, like, you know, it's I only really care about the monochrome sensor when I'm blurring out the background. And if I was going to try and do that with the monochrome sensor covered up, which is the top sensor, let's see if that actually even works. Lenses must not be covered up. Let's see. So second sensor covered up, it didn't allow me to take a monochrome shot, a wide aperture shot. It's actually not letting me blur out the background even more. But I mean, I love it. I love it when a shot like this is a bad shot. That's just so good. So, so good. Those f1.6 aperture lenses really coming together nicely. How is sound through the USB jack adapter? I haven't done really rigorous testings on it. I'm gonna be skimming through. Thanks Basil, thanks Sam for the Daydream info. Thanks Sam for the Daydream info. Thanks everyone. You guys have absolutely chewed up and spat out the last 1 hour and 20 minutes of my life, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be signing out now. Thank you, Sam, especially. Sam Pullen, check out his YouTube channel. He was on the Mate trip with me. He's an absolutely wonderful man who knows his beep. This is the Mate 10 Pro. I've been Basil. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you subscribe. That's how you will be staying on top of everything we do and future live shows. The next one will be my live Pixel 2 review. And don't worry guys, there will be a much, much more concise 10-minute version of this coming too. Thanks for watching. Bye.